Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of Scouting 5, recapping scouting news from around the world for the week of July 21st, 2025. I'm Scouter Ken, and I am once again recording from St. Albert, Alberta. Well, it looks like the budget cuts and staff reductions that Scouts Canada had previously mentioned would happen have in fact happened. We've been hit by it rather hard here in Northern Lights Council, covering Northern Alberta and the Northwest Territories. We lost both of our scouting relationship managers, essentially all the paid staff in the council office, such as it existed here in Northern Lights, which unfortunately impacted, a close friend of mine who had been working as one of those SRMs. Sorry to see him now looking for work. And it kind of sucks that this appears to have been the story across a lot of the country, seeing a lot of chatter on Facebook. However, briefly, because the moderation staff seem to be taking a lot of these posts down. But a lot of discussion coming out about how SRMs across the country, scouting relationship managers, who were like the main point of contact for scout groups and national, the relationship managers were really the ones who were, like if we had any questions, if we had any problems, if we needed any guidance that had the official word of national behind it, like they were the people that we went to. And a lot of them seem to have been let go in this round of staff reductions, which is really, really quite unfortunate. And as if that weren't enough, there's also some bad news regarding TSR, the Tamaracuda Scout Reserve. It's not the worst news that one could hope for. I mean, certainly, as I've mentioned many times on the podcast before, other scouting properties have been sold and turned into lakefront properties and the like. That's not what happened to Tamaracuda, but it is still being divested by Scouts Canada, which is unfortunate because it was one of the most storied scout camps in Canada. Quoting Scouts.ca, TSR has long been a cherished part of scouting in Canada, especially in Quebec, offering timeless experiences and serving generations of youth. However, as we have shared previously, significant safety, financial, and environmental challenges have led us to reassess its future. After careful consideration of all potential options, Scouts Canada Board of Governors and the Board of Directors of the Quebec Property Society, Quebec Incorporated, made the difficult decision to put TSR up for sale. The decision was guided by a commitment to upholding the values of scouting and potential purchasers. In keeping with our commitment to sustainability, accessibility, and the long-term benefits of fiscal prudence and growth to the scouting community, we have accepted and finalized an offer on TSR, with the deal closing in summer of 2025. This milestone was reached after a comprehensive process and will allow our organization to honor the site's legacy while advancing our goals of environmental sustainability and creating more opportunities and adventures for youth. End quote. So it's unfortunate, but it does appear as though they have sold it to a developer who is looking to preserve most of TSR, most of the Scout Reserve, for conservation and for public access. Roughly 80% of the land, I guess, will be maintained for conservation, and then a lot of that territory will remain open. This will include the two large sections of Lake Tamaracuda and Lake Dawson, keeping those as close to their natural state as possible. So it'll still be there for people to access. It'll still be there for scouts to use, but it will no longer be a scout-managed property. That's a better fate than has often befallen scout camps that have been sold, but it is still unfortunate to see this one let go. Scouts Canada also recently mourned the passing of Rabin D'Souza, who began his scouting journey in 1982 at age 12. He joined a scout group at that time. He's been involved with Scouts Canada. He's been involved with his scout group, the 78th Toronto. He's been involved with numerous World Scout Jamborees, including being on the management teams for many of these. Roughly 43 years as a member of Scouts Canada, and he passed away not too long ago. He was also, just after his passing, posthumously awarded the Silver Wolf, which is the highest national award that Scouts Canada can bestow. You can read more about Mr. D'Souza in the two articles that I'll include in the show notes. But yes, you don't often hear about a Silver Wolf or any of those awards being awarded posthumously. That's usually reserved for awards for gallantry. So a nice touch on Scouts Canada's part to make that offer after Mr. D'Souza's sudden passing. In international news, Switzerland has been selected to host the 2028 Roverway event, quoting Scout.org. The European regions of the World Organization of the Scout Movement and the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts are proud to announce that Switzerland has been selected to host Roverway 2028. Organized by the Mouvement Scout de Suisse, This flagship European event will bring together thousands of young people aged 16 to 22 from across Europe and beyond for a transformative experience grounded in the core values of scouting and guiding. Roverway 2028 will offer a dynamic and inclusive educational journey that begins with Paths, decentralized adventures hosted by local scout and guide groups, and culminates in a central camp uniting participants in a celebration of shared experiences, learning, and leadership. Switzerland's proposal strongly focuses on youth participation, an inclusive and responsive program approach, and a clear vision for sustainability and impact. The event will reflect the diversity and democratic values of Switzerland, a country with 4 national languages and a rich tradition of openness and community engagement. End quote. It doesn't say in the article where it's going to take place, but I would assume that at least part of it is probably going to take place at Kandersteg. And also in 2028 news, Italy has been selected to host the 26th European Scout Conference that year. Quoting Scout.org, the 25th European Scout Conference voted today, and by today they mean the 23rd of July, 2025, to award Federazione Italia dello Scoutismo the right to host the 26th European Scout Conference in 2028. The next conference in Italy will build on decisions taken during the 25th European Scout Conference to increase youth engagement and continue to innovate World Scouting's convening of member organizations. Building on the outcome of the 25th conference, the event in Italy will serve as a platform to carry forward the commitments made by National Scout organizations with a renewed focus on empowering young people to lead change and shape the future of the region. End quote. And since it was evidently a busy week for the European Scout Conference, it's also worth noting that they have elected 6 members to the European Scout Committee. These include Alan Simpson from the United Kingdom, Diana Slabu from Romania, Joska Hench from Germany, José Pamplona from Portugal, Marta Concepcion Medeiros from Spain, and Wojtek Fischer-Olbrecht from Czechia. You can read a little bit more about them in the article in the show notes. Meanwhile, over in Africa, Scouts in Angola have received a presidential award for their contributions to peace and development, quoting Scout.org. In a historic milestone for scouting in the Africa region, the Scouts of Angola were recently awarded the Commemorative Medal for Peace and Development by the President of Angola on the 50th anniversary commemoration of the nation's independence. This prestigious recognition celebrates Scouting's efforts to foster peace and social cohesion, promote youth leadership, and champion sustainable development, causes that are central to Scouting's mission worldwide. The award is one of several national honors granted to exceptional individuals and groups who have played significant roles in Angola's journey toward independence and building a more peaceful society. This coveted award is not just a national honor, it's a global celebration of what Scouting can achieve. End quote. And jumping back to Europe, I think I might have mentioned Norway's National Jamboree, Joint National Jamboree, in a previous episode. If not, I might be confusing it with something else entirely. But as it happens, over 10,000 scouts were able to gather for what was evidently a first-of-its-kind event, quoting Scout.org. This July, a remarkable transformation took place in Gjøvik, Norway. From the 5th to the 12th of July, over 10,000 scouts from across Norway and more than 30 countries came together for the first-ever joint national jamboree organized by Spiderne i Norge, which I believe is the name of the scouting organization in Norway. And if I pronounce that horribly, I'm sorry. Continuing the quote. The event hosted at the GOBB Arena was a living, breathing community built entirely by the Scouts themselves. What made the camp truly extraordinary was its self-sufficiency. In the span of just a few days, Scouts constructed a functioning city of tents, kitchens, dining areas, and towering entrance gateways, all using traditional scouting skills, wooden poles, and rope. With no permanent infrastructure, every structure was designed, planned, and built from scratch by the participants. By the end of the week, it was all taken down again, leaving no trace. A powerful example of sustainable and skill-driven living. Throughout the week, the camp was alive with activity. Outdoor adventures, evening campfires, cultural exchanges, and spontaneous games. Scouts cooked together, shared meals with neighboring groups, traded badges with international friends, and experienced the joy of living in a truly global Scout village. End quote. Sounds like a fun time. And that is all the news I have for you this week. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, be prepared.